Hello and welcome to our discussion today. My name is Martha and I'm so glad that you could join me. And today we are having a very interesting discussion. Some time back, we talked about rejection and how to turn rejection into redirection so that when you experience rejection in your life, you will be able to know how to channel that into positivity, and it will direct you into a better place and better energies and a better position, so that it doesn't leave you feeling horrible and messed up and with mental health issues and so on. And today I wanted us to talk about something that is equally on the same breath, that is equally important, is how to walk away. This one is on the other one was being on being rejected, and this one is on how to walk away from a relationship. And actually, on this point, you are the one who looks like you're rejecting people. You're the one who is having to reject people when you need to walk away. How do you walk away from a relationship? And sometimes there are very many reasons why people want to walk away from a relationship. Sometimes it's because the relationship is no longer beneficial to you. Actually, there was a point that relationship was very helpful, it made a lot of sense, it added value to you, or it just made you happy. There's something that it was just adding to you. But now when you look at it, you're thinking, do I really need this person in my life? Do I really need to carry on with this relationship? And so sometimes you realize you want to walk away because where you were with that person, you're no longer there anymore, and you need to walk away. And sometimes it's not even sometimes, it is never an easy process. Most of the times it's a process that is painful. It's a process that requires a lot of courage, for you to just walk away, because sometimes you're so afraid deep within you have planned walking away for so long, but sometimes it's just not easy. And as a young person, especially in high school, so to speak, or even in college, there's a lot of walking away that sometimes we've got to do. And sometimes maybe as adults, it's also not easy for us sometimes to walk away. And especially because you realize that you're walking away is not just about you and the person. There are other people involved. So many times, it's never easy. It's actually very painful for you to walk away from that relationship. And that's why we are saying, you'll need to find courage to do so. And how therefore do you walk away? How do you safely do that without leaving yourself so scarred and so injured and hurting other people and so on? Number one thing that I want to highly recommend is that you need to be so clear in your mind where you're walking away. You need to be very clear. You need to avoid just a sensual walking away, that I just don't feel like, I no longer like this person, I no longer love this person anymore, but there's nothing really that you can put a finger on and say, by the way, the reason I don't want this friend is because he did this, or she did this, or she does this, or he does this. It could be an event that makes you walk away from someone, or something that they do, or the person they have become. You realize that probably their value system is not what you've known all along. It is not no longer the same with yours. And so there's a conflict of that value system. And so you're like, I think I can't do this anymore. Number one, you need to actually identify, why do I need to walk away? You know why you need to do that? Because that answer to the why is what will keep you going. It is what will help you minimize the pain, because every breakup of every relationship has those moments where you're thinking, or I shouldn't have, or what, or maybe, or even the other person, how the other person reacts. You realize you keep going back and asking myself, did I really do the right thing? So if you're able to actually put a finger on, why am I doing this? You realize that most of the times you are able to carry on with the painful experience of walking away, or the ugly experience, because there's some people, when you walk away from them, they don't take it lightly, and so they will mess you up. They will probably even become violent, maybe even emotionally. They will mess your name up. They will cook stories about you, and just like hitting back, they will actually just affect you. You're just who you are. And so for you to be able to survive through that season of the effect of walking away from that person, you need to be very clear in your mind. Why did you? did I walk away? It's not just because I didn't feel like liking those people anymore. I had reasons, and those reasons have not changed. The reason I walked away is because 1, 2, 3, and that stays. So you need to just avoid unnecessary emotional walking away when you're not very sure why. Because the same way you're walking away and then you'll be back, then back again, because you don't even have a good reason as to why. Number 2 is that there is need to communicate that. And communicate that. It's one of the hardest thing to ever do, to look someone to the eyes and tell them, by the way, going forward, you and I may not be able to just get along very well. Or as you've noticed, because the other person you've tried drawing away and so on, and the person does not even understand why you become cold, why you don't respond to their messages, why you don't accept the invitations to visit or something, or you've just been acting distant. Why have you been doing that? At some point, I wouldn't want to say when, but at some point it's important to communicate to that person, and especially if there is something that you think they need to know and maybe work on. I know there are some situations where once in a while you don't have to explain to anyone why you've walked away from their lives or you have cut that relationship, but many times when you give the other person the reason as to why, you're helping the other person to also find closure, in the sense that they know that we are no longer friends, and it's not about what I didn't do. Because when you break away from someone and you don't communicate, you leave the other person hurting. In the same way, when we are talking about rejection, dealing with rejection, if someone walked away from you and just cut off communication and they didn't tell you what it is that you did or you didn't do, you're left asking yourself, what did I do? Or could I have, or could it be this situation, or could it be this day we had gone where, or could it be because you leave that person with so many questions unanswered, and maybe you're not even available for you to give them those answers. Many times it's because if you really cared for that person, there's a need there. If you really cared for that person, it's good to let them know, by the way, if you've noticed, this is where we are, and it is because of this and this, and very honestly and very calmly just ask the person to respect that decision you have made. Number 3 is that you need to seek other things that will distract you from that what was occupying you, because you realize that when you are in a relationship, there's a space that any relationship occupies. And remember, I'm not talking about relationship with the opposite sex. I'm not even talking about sensual relationships. I'm not even talking about just romantic relationships. I'm even talking about relationships with your fellow, if it's a girl, your friendship with the other girls, and maybe if it's a young man, your friendship with the other young men, your classmates, your dorm mates, your desk mate or something. It's a relationship that you feel that I need to walk away from. So necessarily it's not about the opposite sex. And so there is some occupation, there's some space that relationship is to occupy in your life, and you realize that space shouldn't stay as a vacuum. There should be something else that occupies that time and that space, even in your mind and in your heart and in your whole you, because there's a space that those people occupy. You need to distract yourself and let other healthy, whatever you are running away from this relationship, make sure that whatever is occupying that space that person was taking is equally healthy, so that you don't find yourself in another situation where it's actually worse than where you were, because you didn't distract yourself well. You didn't find something to substitute and actually made you a better person, or even made the healing better. And that's why you hear many people having maybe romantic relationships where someone broke up with the other person and they've broken up, and maybe it was not even ugly, it was not even violent, but it just agreed, both of them, that we can't do this and we are done. And then within another month, you hear that they're in other relationships. And when you honestly ask them, you realize that actually they were getting into other relationships as rebound. They are just doing that to occupy, because there is a vacuum that is in them, and that vacuum, it's begging to be occupied. And that's why they are finding themselves attracting other relationships, and those relationships, many times they leave them worse, because they know they had not even healed, they had not even moved on, they had not even dealt with the issues they were dealing with sometimes. And so when they bring in these other person in their lives, you realize now it complicates the situation because you have not even processed your expectations. You have not processed where that relationship has taken you, because maybe it was even an emotionally abusive relationship. Let's say, for example, you have your classmate who is just emotionally abusive, or your desk mate or your dorm mate, and you feel like, I'm done with this anymore. And so there's some healing that you need to do. And so therefore, make sure that you have something that is helpful, that is distracting you, that is occupying your time. For example, during your time when you are having that, you used to have walks, you used to sit down and listen or watch a movie together or something. Look for something different. Go for sports, go for other co-curricular activities, or even look for something to distract you, but something healthy. Because when you take something that is unhealthy, by the end of the day, whatever you're running away from, you'll even get it worse from that. And the other thing is, point number 3, is that you need to make sure that at that moment you do your self-love and self-reaffirmation. And because sometimes when you walk away from someone, sometimes even the guilt, sometimes you feel very guilty that you probably broke their heart, or you probably made them, when you see them lonely and not having anyone, or other people, they also lost other relationships because of your loss, because of then you walked away, the other people who also walked away along. And so you feel like you owe them, that you need to go back so that you can alleviate their mess, so that you make them feel that I didn't really hate you, it's only that we can't get along. And so you need at that moment to ensure that you're able to deal with those issues. Give yourself some attention. And one of the best ways I know how to do that is make sure that in this breaking away and walking away, many times it's good to have someone who is senior, someone who is reliable, someone who is superior to you, and that's someone who's walked some few times ahead of you, and that person can be able to look at things from a more mature position. Everybody has a more mature person in their lives. I think the only person who probably doesn't have that are the very old people who their peers have also passed on. But everybody, including us adults, we have elders ahead of us. I have a younger woman who probably, I know, made not even so much of the years, but her experiences will help my situation. Or there's a man who, in their experiences, they can help you as whatever it is you're going through. So at that moment, when you walk away with someone holding your hand, someone guiding you, someone telling you as it is, and you can tell them as it is. You can comfortably be able to tell them, by the way, I'm feeling so bad about that person. Because the reason why I probably walked away is because, like I said, maybe there was abuse, there was violence, maybe there was that someone did something to you or said something that hurt you. And you are not even healing very quickly. When you see them, you're so annoyed, you're feeling so bad, and you have need to heal and get well. So as we talk about self-care, one of the surest ways of doing that is making sure that you're not walking the path alone. When you are a lone ranger, it becomes very difficult and it's so easy for you to go down. But in a company of people with the same values, the same energies, same with schools of thought, it becomes much easier to walk away and stay healthy, and you walk towards your healing, towards better relationships and so on. Because the people who can never be able to find the courage to walk away, they live a very miserable lives, and they live their lives at the mercies of other people. And that is the last thing you don't want, especially at your age, especially as a teenager. The last thing you want is to have your friends deciding what it is you can do, and you can't walk away. You can't say no to them, because you know when you say no to them, they will reject you, they will be annoyed. And so as we talk about peer pressure, now you find yourself being pressured by them because you don't know how to say no to them. Because if I say no to them, they will reject me or they'll walk away from me, and then you can't handle it. So it is important for us to teach ourselves how to just walk away. And saying no, it's important. Saying no, and someone said that no is a complete sentence. It is a complete sentence, and as a teacher of English, I know what it means to have a complete sentence. So when you tell someone no, and you tell them it's over, and you tell them I don't want your friendship, it is important for you to stick your ground and stick to that. Just be very honest. Stick to that and let them know, by the way, I told you it's a no. I told you we can't do this with you. I told you I don't want your friendship because it is not helping me. it's not adding value to me. When you stick your ground, well, that person will also recognize, by the way, you're not just bluffing, you're not just doing it for the sake of it, you're not testing the waters, you're not wanting to see how they will respond, you really meant it. And so I want to hope that the unhealthy relationships around you, there are those friends that you know, by the way, this person is not helping me. In fact, the indiscipline issues that I find myself with the teachers in school, it's not because of me, but it's because of my friends. Because I don't want to walk, I don't want to look funny that I am not doing the things they are doing. And you know very well what the only solution towards your issues, even the indisciplined cases, is just walking away from that clique of your girlfriends, walking away from those boys who are your friends. If you only were able to walk away, you know it will solve 90% of your problems. You need courage to do that. You need whatever it takes to walk away. And if you're able to take that step of walking away, you probably will build so many other aspects of virtues that will be able to follow you after you are able to walk away. And so it will change you, it will change your life, and for better, I am sure. And so let me just challenge you. Are there friends in your life? Are there people in your life that you're with them and you know very well, but this friendship is not adding value? Actually, it is stealing from me. I actually need to walk away. And you don't know really how to do that, but you know deep down that this is not healthy. The earliest I can walk away, the better for me and for quite a number of other people. I challenge you, however difficult it is, take a step. Just say, tomorrow is the first day towards, because it's never easy, but when you make up your mind you want to do, don't say one day I will walk away. To let tomorrow or today be the first step towards walking away. And so I want to stop it at that, and I'll see you later on. And let me hear how you have been able to walk away from friendships. Was it easy? How did you handle it? And are there challenges you came across the way? Are there lessons that you learned along the way? I would love to hear it. And thank you for your time. Remember to subscribe and share it with your friends. Thank you.